What is going on, folks? It is Dr. Remy LeBeau, and I'm coming at you once again from the X-Lair to provide you my deep and insightful thoughts on the latest Marvel Cinematic Universe offering, Doctor Strange and the Multiverse. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness has been released today. I just got home from watching it. And I have to say, I'm delighted, and not delighted in the way I was after watching Spider-Man No Way Home, because that was more of a, sort of a culmination of a lot of things, 20 years worth of things, really. So it had so many levels of joy to that movie that I was just, my mind was so blown and my heart was so full that the experience was definitely different, because this was, first and foremost, after watching it, my first reaction is this is an MCU movie, but first and foremost, it is a Sam Raimi horror movie. This is a Sam Raimi horror movie, ladies and gentlemen. A Sam Raimi horror movie. Now, if you don't know Sam Raimi started off independent dude, made Evil Dead. Super indie film. Made on the lowest fucking budget. They got it done. They put it together. They sold it. People watched it. People liked it. Then he got some money and he made a sequel, which is essentially a remake to the original Evil Dead 2. And that was like wacky, like it had like a wacky, comedic, horrific element to it. A lot of what I saw in this movie echoed a lot of what went on in that particular movie, and maybe the first one as well, but I think he refined it in the second one. And then he made Army of Darkness, and he took the camp factor up to like level 30. And that was sort of like Evil Dead 3. And so there's a very particular style that he gives us with his horror. Then he made this movie called Drag Me to Hell, which I fucking love. I love Drag Me to Hell. It's so fucking wacky and weird and like sort of like classic gothic horror, classic horror elements, but done in the Raimi sort of style, put through that Raimi lens. And it's just, what comes out on the other side of it is so delightful. It's so just bizarre and gruesome, and just, it's a grand spectacle, and it's very intimate, and it's just great. It's just great freaking horror. It's just like the perfect level of everything that you want in your horror movie. And I love his approach to horror. And then of course he made the Spider-Man movies, and those movies had a couple of scenes in them, maybe a couple of sequences where it was sort of horror-esque, but really they were not. And he refined a different style there, a non-horror style, and I think he did a great job. I love those movies. I mean, definitely the third one, a bit problematic, but that, again, has something to do with studio intervention more than Sam Raimi's fault. Overall, the three movies are enjoyable. The first two are epic. They really lay the groundwork for a lot. And even today, if you were to watch those movies on the big screen, they would give you a great freaking experience. So the guy's a master. He knows what he's doing. Now here we are, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. The dude that directed, Scott Derrickson, who directed the first Doctor Strange, is a horror movie director as well. He started off with a couple of indie horror movies. I have not seen them because I haven't heard, like, through the grapevine, these are the best horror movies. You know, like, I haven't heard that he's that top shelf horror directing quality guy. So I never really went after his stuff. I like Doctor Strange, but I didn't love Doctor Strange, the first Doctor Strange. And then I heard that he was making this one and that they were going to make it sort of a horror movie sort of element. And that was kind of interesting. But again, it was going to be sort of him doing it. And I like the guy, but I mean, I don't love the guy. I'll be honest. I don't love Doctor Strange 1. So at some point he steps away because of creative differences. Who knows what the actual story is there. And they bring Sam Raimi in. I mean, could there have been a better choice than Sam Raimi to bring into this world, into this particular character, but just the MCU in general? Like, the dude likes to play. The dude likes to play with film. You see it in this movie. There's some great transitions, such great shots, great, so much great, you know. And I know that even though he came in late, like, I know he had a say in pretty much everything, and it shows. You know, the dude came from indie filmmaking. Like, it means indie filmmaking means basically like you just do it, you figure it out, you have the tools, and you make something great. That's what indie filmmaking is. at the studio level, you like to have a lot of preparation, but clearly he knew coming in, not being there throughout the entire pre-production, like, all right, I just got to do my thing. And the motherfucker did. He did his thing. And first and foremost, to me, this is a great Sam Raimi horror movie. Like, freaking great. So many great elements. So many great sort of scare type moments. The eeriness is just the right level of eeriness for the MCU, but it's definitely horror. And it's there. And it works. And I love it. I freaking love it. Like, it's just, whoa. Like, I am surprised, you know, like I thought he was going to kind of lean in a little more into maybe what's expected of you in the MCU, but clearly the MCU is not about that. Kevin Feige is not about that. Kevin Feige is about, okay, well, let's do it. Let's let directors that are great storytellers, let's let them do their thing. And they let Sam Raimi do his thing here. And I am so glad they did, because what his thing is fucking great. Like, there's a lot going on in this movie, but there also isn't a lot going on in this movie. And that's what I really liked about it. There's like a nice balance to it. Like, the multiverse thing is a big idea, but the story was very intimate. So I did enjoy that about it. So I enjoyed it as a Sam Raimi horror movie. Did I enjoy it as a Marvel Cinematic Universe film? Yes and no. I'll just flat out say it. The Wanda villain turn, to me, I mean, I understand it. It was the Darkhold. It took hold of her. It took her. I feel bad for Wanda. Like, I want Wanda. Like, I thought after WandaVision, like, clearly WandaVision was about turning her into the Scarlet Witch and then she getting the Darkhold. That ultimately leads to what she is doing in this movie. But, you know, I was rooting for Wanda. Like, after WandaVision, I was rooting for her. You know, we went through this journey with her, and like, we understood her, and we sort of saw her plight, and we saw her sort of learn to kind of heal, but I guess ultimately not. I mean, the only thing she ultimately realized was that she was hurting too many people to continue on with this fantasy that would allow Vision and her fake children to exist. And she stopped. But I guess when she got the Darkhold and went to this place wherever she was, where once again she created another fucking reality that wasn't real, as we saw. The Darkhold took hold of her. It took a dark hold over her, and she changed. And apparently she changed permanently. Is she redeemable? Is she still alive? I don't know. I don't know if she's still alive. We saw like a flash of power, like right before we cut out of Wundagore, as it was crumbling, like a flash of red. So it was her power. So you got to assume that she did something, right? Like something happened there. She did not die. So there has to be more chapters to her story, because I want to see her persevere now. And like I'm invested in her. Like after WandaVision, I'm invested in her. And so I want to see her persevere. Maybe she still is going to have that moment of like, because in the comics she did a no more mutants moment where, you know, she had created a whole alternate world within our world, the proper world where all the superheroes live, 616, which I'll talk about in a second. And so that all kind of fell apart. And when it did, she ultimately wound up saying no more mutants, because she was in the stories a mutant, and the world was so hurtful to her and so hurtful to mutants that she ultimately said, well, maybe it's better that there are no mutants. And she just says, no more mutants. And then all the mutants are gone. There's only 198 left on the planet. Everybody else is depowered. They all lose their powers, and no more new mutants are born. So she was able to do that. Are we going to get that, you know, in a subsequent film? Now she's kind of gone through her journey. She's lost things, she's gained things, she's learned things, she's gone dark. She might be redeemed now, because she did sort of take down the temple at the end to make sure that nobody else would get a hold of this magic and be affected in the way that she has been affected. So now, like, once she escapes this, whatever happened in that moment, that final moment that we saw her, like, is she going to have her moment of like, okay, now we are going to have mutants or something? Like, I don't know. I feel like she is the key to mutants. And I think that because we have mutants in the multiverse, but are we going to have mutants in the proper Marvel Cinematic Universe? I don't know. So the 616 thing. So Earth 616 in the comic books is the proper Marvel universe. In the comic book reality, the Marvel Cinematic Universe exists, but it has like some higher number. I forget what the number is, but it's like in the thousands or something. And so you always assume from the comic book perspective that Earth 616 is the comic book universe. But in this movie, Christine, from that universe where the Illuminati existed, said that, excuse me, that she believed that Doctor Strange's universe was Earth 616. She believed that, and he took her at her word. Nobody verified that, though. Nobody said for sure, oh, no, this is Earth 616. Nobody said that for sure. Nonetheless, like, even if the universes, the comic book universe and the movie universe are like sort of like these nexus universes for a whole multiverse, then even if that's the case, like, I mean, what it ultimately is saying is that the center of that nexus universe is Earth 616. And if that is the case, cool, I accept that. You know, all of this is made up anyway. Like, ultimately, like, it's clear, like, okay, we're not dealing with the same universes. Like, there's just a bunch of different universes, and there might be a bunch of different multiverses, and hey, that's what's going on. Anyway, okay. So I guess big stuff out of the way. I hope they redeem Wanda is ultimately what I'm hoping. Like, I hope this is still yet another chapter in that longer story. Oh no, she said there were 10 movies. Oh no, Elizabeth Olsen said that she had signed up for 10 movies. Maybe that was a smokescreen to misdirect us from the fact that she was going to quote unquote die in this movie. But maybe not, you know, maybe this is still just another chapter in her redemption / evolution / you know, path to becoming whatever she's going to become. I mean, in the end, she did kill a bunch of sorcerers. Can she be redeemed from that? I mean, yes, the Darkhold took hold of her, but I mean, she murdered a lot of people. She did a lot of terrible things, Wanda. So, I don't know. But I hope she gets redeemed. All right, now, Doctor fucking Strange. So, a couple of things I'll mention. Mordo. What happened with the tag at the end of Doctor Strange 1, where he takes the power away from the one dude that had used magic to be able to walk again? Julia Roberts' ex-husband or current husband, I don't know, the hot Latin dude. And then Mordo says that he wants to take away everybody's power because he believes people that use magic are bad for just existence in general. We never kind of followed up on that, but there was a follow-up with Mordo. So that was good, but it wasn't the exact follow-up logically based on what we saw before, but clearly this is different Mordo. So that did make sense in a way. I'm just wondering if that's a thread we'll ever see again, or if they're just going to pretend it doesn't exist. I don't know. They've never done that before. They've never just kind of swept something under the rug. I mean, they have sort of, like, I guess Tony had his moment at the end of Iron Man 3 where he wasn't going to be Iron Man anymore, and then all of a sudden he was Iron Man. In, I think, Civil Wars when we saw him next. So they do things like that. I mean, I guess that's fine. Anyway, these are little nitpicky things because I'm about to fucking gush over this movie because I fucking love it. So we start off with America Chavez and the alternate Doctor Strange. They're being chased by a creature. We don't know what that creature is. People speculated that it was going to be Citrak. Maybe it was Citrak, maybe it was not. Who knows? But we have this sort of really kind of wild sequence that winds up being a dream for Strange, right? So Strange is like waking up thinking, oh, it's just a random dream. He goes to Christine's wedding. I enjoyed that. You know, it was like a very human moment. And then that's when America Chavez emerges outside being chased by this squid-like giant one-eyed monster. And then there's an epic fight between him, Doctor Strange, and Wong. That was fucking great. I loved Wong in this movie, by the way. Overall, just like great. Wong is fantastic. I love Wong. So that's all I need to say about that. Like, the guy shows up, he kicks some ass. They have a great fight. They go up a building, very evocative of Spider-Man 2 when Dr. Ock has taken Aunt May hostage and Spider-Man is chasing him up the building. Very evocative of that great final horror type of moment where, you know, the eye of the squid monster is pulled out by Strange. I mean, that was fucking straight up Sam Raimi horror goodness. I loved every second of it. And then what we saw earlier in the movie was that the other alternate Strange had tried to take America Chavez's power as a means of saving the multiverse from Wanda. Ultimately, we find out, so America Chavez does not trust Doctor Strange initially, and then we find out that most of the alternate Stranges are pieces of shit. So it's all kind of like, it's all fitting, but everybody kind of realizes, oh, the Earth 616 Doctor Strange is actually cool. Like he's not a piece of shit. So that's it's nice for our Doctor Strange, but like, what does that say about Doctor Stranges in general? You know, like I like that there is sort of that weird duality with Doctor Strange. So America Chavez shows up. Doctor Strange ultimately realizes there's magic involved because she sees runes. I just finished watching the end of WandaVision, and when she cast those runes in the clouds, she took away Agatha Harkness's power. Now, Agatha Harkness, I thought Agatha Harkness was going to be in this. I thought she was in the credits, like IMDb, but probably somebody just put it in there because people like to fuck with people. Interesting that she was not in this movie, though. Interesting. Wanda's story is not done. Wanda's story is not fucking done. So, you know, whatever. Wanda's story is not done. Period. Wanda's story is not done. So we're going to see Agatha Harkness again. Obviously, we're going to see Agatha Harkness in House of Harkness, which is a Disney Plus series coming up soon in the next year or two. And then how that will lead to more Scarlet Witch story, we'll see. I'm thinking it will, because there's more story to be told there. So, you know. Anyway, so the runes get us to Wanda. We find out Wanda is the one that's fucking sending these creatures after America Chavez. Everything America Chavez has been through recently with somebody trying to take her power, Wanda's responsible for it. And then she's going to go to Camartage, right? The sorcerer school to get America Chavez. And that's the moment where, like, I, as an audience member, am processing, like, oh, Wanda is the villain here. Wanda is the villain. Wanda's the bad person. Wanda's bad. She's not good. She's bad, and she may not be able to be redeemed. And then we saw, like, she was just killing sorcerers right and left. It's like, whoa, yeah, we're not going to be able to redeem this one. I want to redeem her because, like, I feel her pain. Like, I get it. You've lost all this, and none of it was your fault. But, like, shit, honey, girl, honey, child. Like, come on. Like, you gotta. But it's the Darkhold. The Darkhold, dark magic took her. That was Agatha Harkness's fault, really. Really, it was Agatha Harkness's fault. She's the one that fucking was attracted to her power. She's the one that brought the Darkhold into her world. It was Agatha Harkness's fault. It was not fucking Wanda's fault. Am I a Wanda apologist? Yes, I am a Wanda apologist. And that's just fine. Just fine. So this is when America Chavez, she is not able to punch holes in reality herself. Because she can't control her power. Now, where does her power come from? Is she a mutant? Yet to be determined. But she seems to have powers and that she can't control and are triggered by fear. That's a very mutant thing, by the way. Very, very mutant thing, I like to point out. So America Chavez, out of fear for her life, Wanda's coming after them. Punches a hole in reality. They wind up in this other reality. Wacky reality. Lots of plants everywhere. Lots of plants everywhere. For a second there I was like, has this world embraced mutants in Krakoa? Krakoa is the island nation of mutants that exists in the comics currently. This is a image from one of the first covers. This is Jean Grey coming through a portal. So the island is able to create portals anywhere in the world, and they just have to plant a seed somewhere, and that will create a portal that will get them back to the island. and only mutants can go through them. This is a beautiful depiction of that. So you can see Jean Grey's coming through. So when I saw the planets, I was like, oh shit, is this like fucking, is there Krakoa in this world? They didn't mention Krakoa. They didn't explain the plants, so be it. Anyway, cool kind of looking world, interesting. We have America Chavez and Doctor Strange each have a moment on these like memory simulators. One for Doctor Strange, kind of highlighting his need for Christine and the fact that he's lost her several times throughout several dimensions and it hurts him. And so like that's an important character moment for him. But most importantly, we saw America Chavez's sort of backstory. She was a little girl. She accidentally turned on her powers. Her beautiful lesbian mothers were sucked into some random portal, and so was she. And she's lost them. And she's been lost in the multiverse ever since. She's been to like 70-something Earths, she said. That is very interesting. That's a very interesting. I would love to see a movie about America Chavez freaking going through the multiverse. So she can't control her power. They're in this place. They wind up going to the Sanctum Sanctorum where Doctor Strange is dead. There's a statue to him there saying with a sign saying that he died fighting Thanos. Holy shit. There's a Thanos in this universe, and he's been defeated by Doctor Strange, supposedly. So, I'm just remembering some of the imagery that I'm about to talk about in a bit. I'll mention in a second, but like, there were some moments in this movie, some fucking moments, right? There's some moments. All right, so they go to the Sanctum Sanctorum. Mordo's there. He seems welcoming. Bam! He drugs them. Then we see Wanda being attacked by some of the sorcerers that survived. They destroy the Darkhold, so she now needs an alternative way to... What she's going to do is she's going to send her essence through the multiverse to control her other self in the multiverse. Like, she was about to do it. She was about to control this alternate Wanda, but she wasn't able to do it because the Sorcerer Supreme, one of the sorcerers at the school, destroyed the book, the Darkhold. So then Wanda convinces Wong that she needs to, like, there must be another way, and then it threatens the life of all these other sorcerers, and Wong helps her find out, oh, there's an alternative place, Wondergore, where you can go. Nobody's ever survived going there, etc. She's like, we're going. Interesting thing, Wondergore is this kind of weird thing from the comics where her and Pietro were raised by these like genetically engineered like caretakers. So like there was like this giant cow woman that raised them. I forgot what her name was. Anyway, so Wondergore is a name that's important, but they might have used it differently here. I don't know if they have more plans for Wondergore, but they did sort of connect Wanda to Wondergore, and that made sense to me. So she goes to this place, and then there's these creatures that like kind of bow to her, these giant like minion type creatures, and then there's like a giant statue of her. So this is sort of her temple in a way. So now now all the spells are on the walls that were in the Darkhold, and they're supposed to help her control her other self in this other reality. Then we get fucking Strange and America Chavez waking up, and they're in this fucking weird like containment. There's a Christine there who's like a multiversal expert, and then Doctor Strange is led away. Okay, and this is when we have the moments, right? The moments, like the moments that every X-Men fan has been waiting for too long, really. My shit is turning gray here, motherfuckers. Like, where's my X-Men in the MCU, motherfuckers? Like, my shit's turning gray, come on. So we finally get just a little dash, just a little sprinkle of exactly what we were looking for. Fucking X-Men in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Fucking Professor X in that yellow hover chair, motherfucker. Jesus H. Christ. Professor X in the yellow hover chair in the MCU. It's Patrick Stewart. This is crazy. This is wacky. So he's led into the fucking chamber of the Illuminati. Now in the comics, so I believe now, based on what I saw, that we are heading towards Secret Wars. Secret Wars was originally an event back in the 80s. Then they did a Secret Wars 2. And then several decades later, they did a Secret Wars that involved these incursions. They were mentioned in this movie. Incursions are when two realities crash into each other. And in that situation, every reality in the multiverse had crashed into each other for various reasons, and that led to a Secret Wars. And a Secret Wars was basically a final reality that had portions of all the realities in the multiverse being ruled by Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom had taken control of the final universe that existed and created this crazy empire where all the various kingdoms are like these different multiversal segments. And it went on for like a couple of months. There were all the other books had been canceled, and they did a main storyline, and then they had each individual book that dealt with a different kingdom and sort of the overall story of the surviving heroes that made their way to trying to resolve this thing. And ultimately what resolved it was that all the universes became one, and some of the heroes that existed in other multiversal places came into the normal universe. So I'm thinking that might be, okay, that has to be how they're going to bring X-Men into the, and Fantastic Four and everything into the main Marvel universe. They're going to do Secret Wars exactly like they did in the comics. This was something that was hypothesized about, speculated about, and now we have some verification that that is indeed what is going to happen. And when that name was brought up, Secret Wars, it evoked the original Secret Wars, which was basically like this thing, this omnipotent power. His name was the Beyonder, who wanted to see all the heroes and the villains on Earth fight each other. And I believe the event was ultimately developed by a toy company, maybe it was Mattel, who wanted to create a bunch of different or maybe Marvel themselves wanted to create a bunch of different versions of the characters and sell them as action figures relating to Secret Wars. So I think that was the sort of the catalyst for this whole thing, which is like greedy corporate, like let's merchandise fucking the hell out of our IP shit. But it wound up being a cool story. People love that shit. That's where the symbiote was first introduced that became Venom. So there's a lot of love for that. But it's fine, you know. And then the Secret Wars 2 was kind of cheesy, and then it kind of died after that. But then again, decades later, like in what was that, early 2000s or early 2000 teens, they did a Secret Wars, the one I just talked about. And then ultimately that took like Miles Morales, who lived in a different universe, into the normal universe. So now Miles Morales is in the normal Marvel universe ever since Secret Wars. So a lot of the characters from this sort of like multiversal existence came into the one universe. That's probably what they're going to do here. So that would be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. That's but that might be the 10-year plan for this, you know, as the Infinity Saga was a 10-year plan. So this may all lead to that. I mean, we'll see. I mean, you have to imagine that they'll make X-Men and Fantastic Four movies, and they will kind of establish their own universes and then kind of bring it all together in Secret Wars, potentially. So we won't have to wait till Secret Wars for that, hopefully. I mean, I don't know. I'm just speculating here. Who fucking knows? Anyway, incursions were mentioned. That led to that thinking. All right, the Illuminati. All right, people speculated that we're going to see Tom Cruise as Iron Man. That was a big one. A lot of people were really wanting that to be the case because he was going to be cast as Iron Man before Robert Downey Jr. So there was talk about potentially doing that. It didn't happen. I'm glad about that because that would have been fucking weird. People talked about Steve Rogers being there. He wasn't. People talked about Black Bolt being there, played by Anson Mount, who played him in that stupid fucking Inhumans bullshit show that they fucking had on ABC that was trash. And the reason why it was trash is because they originally planned Inhumans when they didn't know they were going to get the X-Men back. And in the comics, they were killing the X-Men, basically. And they were trying to create the Inhumans as sort of the mutants of the universe. because they didn't own the film rights. But then the minute they got the film rights, all that changed. And they threw all of their Inhuman bullshit out the window. And I think what they were planning to do with that Inhumans movie, ultimately, they didn't want to just throw it all away. So they kind of salvaged it by making a shitty, like, miniseries type of thing. And everybody hated it and it was awful. And that was the end of the story. But Anson Mount played Black Bolt in that, who is actually one of the cooler Inhumans who has existed long before all this bullshit where they just try to make everyone Inhumans so that mutants would become nothing in that universe. And so Black Bolt is cool, and it was cool to see him there. I was hoping we wouldn't see him because I don't want to see Inhumans. I don't want to fucking see Inhumans because Inhumans piss me off because I'm an X-Men fan. I've been reading X-Men all these decades, and so it was clear what they were doing in the comics, and it was pissing me and all the X-Men fans off, knowing that they were just kind of sweeping them to the side and making them basically unimportant. So, like, I don't want to see Inhumans. Like, I don't care. Inhumans are fucking fucked up. I don't want to see Inhumans. Fortunately, this version of the X-Men has erased all of that shit and made X-Men fucking great again in the comics, and everything's fine because Marvel got the fucking film rights back, and now they can actually make money off of these characters. And so now they're going to promote the shit out of them. They're actually going to tell good stories, and that's what's been happening. And Inhumans have been forgotten, and it's been fucking wonderful. But Black Bolt in the comics was part of the Illuminati, so it makes sense that he would be here. And I did enjoy seeing him, and I thought he used his power really cool. So hey, great, whatever, great. Black Bolt's there. All right, then we had Monica Rambeau's mom. I forget what her actual name is, but she was there as Captain Marvel. Now, in the comics, she is a Captain Marvel. So it was cool to see her as Captain Marvel. I did enjoy that. That was fun. Fucking Sharon Carter as Agent motherfucking Carter, man. That was fucking so cool to see that. Agent Carter was basically an alternate universe version of Peggy Carter, who had become Captain America in a sense. Like, she had gotten the super soldier serum. She had existed in sort of like a multiversal story in the comics. And then last year, when they did the What If series on Disney Plus, they had a whole episode dedicated to her, where she basically became Captain America the same way Steve Rogers did, because Steve Rogers was killed in the midst of the sabotaging of the experiment. And she took on the mantle of Captain Carter, and she had the shield with the Union Jack on it, and they had a whole story about her. And then the What If series wound up being a whole serialized story, and then so she shows up again towards the end, and she has a really great arc, and she's great. And then recently in the comics, they're actually right now releasing a 5-part series about her. So Captain Carter is becoming a thing, and then we get to see her in this movie, and we get to see her played by what's her name? I forget her name. Peggy, the actress that played Peggy Carter. So that was fucking awesome. She looked great. She embodied the character. It's just great to see her like that. And I would love to see her like that more, if that's possible. I would love to have that be the case. Cause I mean, people love, I love her. And I think the actress does a great job, and like, it's just a great depiction. I think overall, it's just exactly what the Marvel Cinematic Universe needs more of. So it would be cool to see more of her, as that version of the character. That would be fucking awesome. Then who else did we have? We did not have a Black Panther. We had a Strange was supposed to be there, but he wasn't. Who else was there? I mean, it was Mordo. So initially they did not include Xavier. Oh, fucking Reed Richards. What am I saying? I totally forgot. It was fucking Reed Richards played by John Krasinski. Like, this rumor of him playing Reed Richards was fucking true. And he played Reed Richards, and it was fucking awesome. He did a great job. I'm going to love him as Reed Richards. And his wife, what's her name? I forget her name. She's the lead in his movies from in The Quiet Place. The Quiet Place Part 1 and Part 2. Anyway, she's going to play Sue Storm. This is great. This is great stuff. All these rumors were true. These guys are going to be it. And like, the director of Spider-Man No Way Home, Far From Home, and Homecoming, recently stepped away from Fantastic Four. And like people have speculated that it's because they think John Krasinski, who directed A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2, is going to direct Fantastic Four and he's going to star in it with his wife. Looks like that rumor may be true. John Krasinski proved himself to be a great director in A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place Part 2. If you have not seen those movies, they're fucking great. They're very intimate kind of horror sci-fi movies, but he did such a great job with them. Like, so he's going to do a great job Fantastic Four if indeed he's going to be directing it. And it makes sense that he would. So I'm really excited about the future of the Fantastic Four and John Krasinski as Reed Richards specifically. Because that, just seeing him as that was so good. And like, they gave us a moment to kind of process it. And then we got fucking Professor X roll up in that fucking yellow hover chair. And then there was a da-na-na-na-na-na, I believe. I'm pretty sure it was da-na-na-na-na-na musical fucking cue from the X-Men animated fucking series. The greatest fucking animated series in the history of humans. A fantastic freaking theme song. Da-na-na-na-na, da-na-na-na-na. And they played that musical cue just like when they had Spider-Man enter the Marvel Cinematic Universe and they played his 1970s cartoon theme, Spider-Man does whatever a spider can. Like, you heard that in the music. Danny Elfman did the music for this movie, by the way. Phenomenal job. I mean, a Sam Raimi movie, directed by Sam Raimi, scored by Danny Elfman. I mean, can it get more fucking precious than that? Fucking chef's motherfucking kiss, bitches. Chef's motherfucking kiss. Holy shit. So fucking Professor X comes in. He fucking is in the chair. It's fucking Patrick Stewart, but it's not fucking stupid Professor X from those other fucking Fox movie universes. Fuck that shit. Fucking sweep that under a rug. Let's forget about it. It's Patrick Stewart as fucking Professor X. And he fucking comes in the yellow hover chair looking all fucking Professor X-y. And he's basically in charge of the Illuminati. Anyway, fucking amazing seeing these people together, talking about incursions, fucking the fact that it was Strange himself who caused problems and they had to kill him. Black Bolt fucking killed him. Where? After they defeated Thanos. Where? On Thanos' fucking planet. That's where. From Avengers Infinity War. We had fucking Professor X there. Professor X in the hover chair, the yellow hover chair, on Praxis? Was it? Not Praxis, that's from fucking Star Trek. I forget the name of the planet. I just watched Infinity War too. But I mean, just insane. You had Reed Richards there. Reed Richards, Black Bolt was there. Fucking Captain Marvel was there. And they killed Doctor Strange. Black Bolt spoke and fucking obliterated him. I mean, I just saw this shit. I just fucking saw this shit. I mean, that's fucking insane. It's fucking insane. Just mind-blowing, fucking insane, fucking awesome, fucking insane. Like, I can't believe I just saw this shit. Wow. Then fucking Wanda. Wanda takes hold of her fucking alternate self, her variant, and she fucking comes storming into that place and she fucking kills the Illuminati one by one in a horrific horror movie Sam Raimi fashion. And all the stuff of her like possessing her other self, that was straight up Sam Raimi fucking horror. And it was fucking chef's kiss Sam Raimi horror. The shadows, the fucking weird fucking dissolves of these fucking weird like mystic elements. It was fucking perfect Sam Raimi horror, making fucking Wanda seem like this fucking monster because she was a monster. I mean, she is a monster. She's been possessed by the Darkhold and it's fucked her and it's made her horrible, and we see it represented visually because Sam Raimi is playing with the visual medium. And I saw some stupid post today on Twitter by some fucking hoity-toity fucking film motherfucker that like mocked fucking the fact that there were all these fucking showings of Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in Times Square, and like deeming it the death of cinema. Like, motherfucker, did you watch this fucking movie? This is not the death of cinema. This is cinema fucking persevering, man. This is Sam Raimi being like, don't fucking talk shit about superhero films. We can take this genre and we can do anything with it. We can be fucking auteurs, and we can still make a fucking great film and a great fucking fan experience, a great entertaining product. And that's what he made here. And it had his signature, and it was beautiful, and I loved every second of it. Fucking Wanda comes in like a badass, and she fucking tears these motherfuckers apart. She takes away Black Bolt's mouth, and his brain implodes. I mean, that was like gruesome. I was like, holy shit. Everybody in the audience jumped. What else? She killed Monica Rambeau. Not Monica Rambeau, Monica Rambeau's mom. She fucking tore Reed Richards to fucking shreds. She tore Reed Richards to shreds. We saw Reed Richards be annihilated in front of us. And it was horrific. It was gruesome. And then we saw Captain Carter killed by her own fucking shield. Fucking cut in half, basically. We didn't see it, but we saw it. And there was a shield that was bloody. And it was gruesome. And it was fucking awesome. It was gasps all over the theater. Gasps. I'm gasping right now. I'm fucking gasping. Just remembering it. Oh my, holy shit. Holy fucking shit. That was fucking gruesome. Fucking gruesome. And then fucking we saw Professor X, man. And then Professor X rolls up right when Wanda's about to get to America Chavez, because that's who she's going for, obviously. Who is still contained in one of those containment units. And fucking Wanda has her mind invaded by Professor X. I'm like, Professor X is in Wanda's mind. Oh, look, it's the plane, the mental plane. I can't believe I'm forgetting this. It's the telepathic plane. Jesus Christ. It's the plane, the mind plane. Fuck, I can't believe I'm forgetting the term. This is what happens when you get a little bit older, kids. So fucking Professor X is trying to take the actual Wanda out of this sort of prison that's been put in from that dimension by the Wanda from our dimension. And there is a moment of them sort of squaring off against each other, and then she fucking breaks Professor X's neck. Like, have we not seen enough Death of Professor X? No, we haven't, and I'm fine. I'm glad with this one. I'm fine with this one. Made sense. The other ones, what? Oh wait, no. Logan was fine. Logan's fine. They told us that it's in an alternate universe, so it's fine. Whatever. But I mean, the Death of Professor X and The Last Stand is unforgivable. But this one is fine. I like this one. This is a good one. But can we please stop killing Professor X, please? Is that even possible? Can we just stop killing Professor X? No, but that was a badass showdown. I was so excited for it. And then fucking he dies. And then Wanda takes America Chavez, and Strange and Christine are sent into that other reality where an incursion has happened. So universes have crashed into each other, and apparently it is Doctor Strange's fault, and he is dark, and he's been taken by the Darkhold. And a couple of things here, though. I feel like we were teased about elements that never really came to fruition. Like we were teased that Captain Carter and that there were zombies. There weren't zombies. But a lot of elements from the What If series, like we thought we were going to get that and we didn't. There were echoes of that, and I think that's clever. I like that it wasn't exactly that. I like that everything was a surprise and it wasn't exactly what you were expecting. I like that a lot. So I really do appreciate that. So that's cool. I like that. Anyway, so then Doctor Strange and Doctor Strange, have a moment and then ultimately there's a showdown, and then ultimately Doctor Strange realizes that he is going to use the Darkhold to possess his alternate self that's dead. The opening of the movie had Doctor Strange die, the alternate Doctor Strange. And so this Doctor Strange took over his body in our dimension so that he could fucking help America Chavez and stop Wanda. And then there was sort of this interesting fucking sequence with these demons that said that possessing another multiversal body that is dead is forbidden. And so they attacked, and then there was this whole sequence of them attacking, and I really enjoyed, that was all fucking Sam Raimi horror movie goodness. And then ultimately Doctor Strange took control of everything, and then he took control of the zombified body, right? That wasn't a zombie, that was a zombified body. And then you had the big showdown where Doctor Strange, the zombified Doctor Strange, was using the zombies as a cape, which I thought was fucking brilliant. That's got to be a Sam Raimi element, right? I'm thinking it's a Sam Raimi thing, because that is very, very Sam Raimi horror. Very, 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 very much. I loved it. I love that. And then ultimately there was a showdown with Wanda, and then America Chavez learned how to use her powers, and then she was able to get them out, and Wanda just sort of came to her senses, and that's when she kind of brought the place down and on top of herself, and it sort of seemed like everything had ended. And then we ultimately have the last moments, right? America Chavez is training to be a sorcerer. Doctor Strange is now back to kind of living his life, and at the last moment we see him open a third eye, and it looks like the Darkhold has affected him. And the movie ends, right? Just lovely. Just a lovely experience overall. I really enjoy it more than the original, but that's not it, obviously. We're not done here. We had another moment after credit sequence. Charlize Theron shows up as Clea, who in the current continuity of comics is the Sorcerer Supreme, because Doctor Strange has died. He died like last year, and Clea has taken over that position, and it is Charlize Theron who is now Clea in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is wild. It was so cool to see her. It was so cool to see her be badass. And it implies to me that they're going to allow her to become the Sorcerer Supreme in the movies, which I'm really cool with, because like she looked fucking awesome, and I love Charlize Theron, and like she deserves a good moment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, because they've kind of fucked her in the Fast and the Furious movies. Like the last few have not been that greatest, and she's sort of been part of that, and it's not her fault, you know, but I feel like she needs a good moment to redeem her. So she's going to get it apparently, and I'm really happy about it. And then the final after credit sequence had fucking Ash, what's his name? God, I'm blanking on his name. Ash, the actor from Evil Dead movies, Army of Darkness. He made cameos in all. I almost had it. I had it, then I lost it. He was in the. He's Sam Raimi's star. Bruce Campbell. Fucking, he had great moments in Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. And then he was like the pizza ball vendor in the Illuminati universe. That's then started doing the punching himself bit. That is straight out of fucking Evil Dead. That is straight out of Evil Dead. Like, if you know Evil Dead, like, that is straight out of those movies. I was cracking the fuck up as I was watching it, because I was like, holy shit, this is Bruce Campbell doing the Evil Dead bit, where he's, like, punching himself. Because in Evil Dead, he has a hand possessed by demons, and then they start punching him, and he starts having a battle with his hand. Ultimately, he has to cut it off himself. Awful, terrible moment, but he fucking gets a badass chainsaw that he attaches to his arm, and then he becomes this badass fucking chainsaw warrior. So it's cool. But, so he got to do his shtick in the movie, and then he did his shtick at the very end too, and that was beautiful, beautiful last kind of moment for Sam Raimi's maybe introductory film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, maybe not, maybe he doesn't make more, who knows? But what I do know is that this movie was a lovely treat. It wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I'm not satisfied with Wanda's story, but I am satisfied with this being a chapter of Wanda's story. I'm not satisfied. If this was the end of her, I would not be satisfied with that story. But because this is not the end of her, then I like that story, and so I'm happy with it. Now, Charlize Theron mentioned that Doctor Strange had caused an incursion. So that means that more incursions are happening. That means we're going to likely get Secret Wars, and that is exciting to me. And that could be the next 10-year thing that's happening. Now things moving forward might lead us to sort of get to Secret Wars and then the one universe where all the elements are together in one place. Possible, possible not. We'll see what happens. Ultimately, I've really enjoyed this movie. If I could see it again right now, I would. I really like it. Of course, you've already seen it because you wouldn't be watching this video if you haven't seen it. But it's a super fun movie. It's a super fun time. And I highly recommend that we all just chill and sit back and wait for more of this goodness to happen, because it is, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is just growing and it's not going anywhere, and it keeps being successful. And I love it. It's the best thing that ever happened to humans. So I'm really happy about that. Lots of shitty things happening in the world on many different levels. I don't need to mention it, but we all know it. But these movies are a lovely sort of bright light at the center of a lot of darkness. And it's lovely to continue having them and continue having it sort of build out and become the even greater thing that it's going to become. Even though it's already a great thing, I just love that the opportunity and the resources exist for it to continue. And that is wonderful. And I can't wait for true X-Men goodness to happen. I mean, we got a really nice sort of hint of what it could be in this universe. Even when Professor X was using his mental telepathy, like he was, like you saw concentric circles sort of expanding out of him, which is directly from the comics. That's imagery from the comics. And so it's just lovely to see that Kevin Feige is going to give reverence to the X-Men and mutants, their iconography, everything that makes them great in the comics, in the cinematic universe. And it's just wonderful. It's just such a wonderful moment. I love this movie. I love this moment, and I look forward to more. Well, folks, I hope everybody's doing fine out there during these wacky days that we all are living in, and just keep persevering on a day-to-day basis, and we are all going to be as fine as we possibly can be. So everybody take care of themselves. I will be back in the future for some more Marvel goodness. I was going to talk about Moon Knight, but I think I need to watch it again. Maybe I'll talk about it after I'm done watching it. Maybe I won't. I did enjoy it, though. Anyway, as always, I want to remind you that if you haven't already, you better put an X in the box, because ain't nobody checking me. Take care, folks. Bye-bye.